All right, welcome to another episode of Silicon Frontier. So, let's get into it. Uh, Coming up, Caterpillar, absolutely massive print over here. Just straight 10% up. This chart doesn't even look real. The fact that this is a $416 billion company with how many employees? It's like 100,000 employees just pumps 10% really shows you the scale of these markets. They're so insanely frothy. But I mean, uh, actually warranted at the same time. Let's look into it a little. So effectively, yeah. Revenue up 20% in the first quarter. They're forecasting 16 and a half, and they hit 17.5. This is phenomenal, and it's really just the energy power generation segment from data centers that is powering a lot of this. So yeah, that is pretty amazing. We also had all the hyperscalers announce their earnings yesterday. But anyway, let's go a bit at a time. Google also just like printed massively. If you look at this, just clean 383. The fact that it hit 274 at the trough of the Iran war and now just is at 383 blows my mind. And what makes it even more funny is like the price of Brent oil um, is $113. Like, if you look at it, this was the bottom over here, 90. This was the bottom here. And now they both go up at the same time. It doesn't really make sense. Anyway, Vertiv, I think they were just down the other day, so they just reclaim a bit. I like getting a bit of momentum. But really, I think SanDisk has been the real princess. It has been on a tear. Like, just insanity. Straight from 900-ish, just broke out, hit 1,000, and has been, yeah, it keeps running. It keeps running. Outside of that, Seagate also had an amazing quarterly earnings. Revenue is a lot stronger. Data centers kind of have softened up. Nebius came down a little. CoreWeave has kind of been range bound, but yeah, overall very, very interesting times in semiconductor land. So, moving on, let's check out what's going on. I've got 99 problems in AI eventually designing bioweapons. Absolutely is one. Fair. So, yeah, hyperscalers capex in 2026 is now over 710 billion. From the recent, what do you call it? CapEx 2026. Why did I lose my mind? Yeah, this number. That's right. I think it was Meta or one of the hyperscalers said that a lot of the increase in spend isn't coming from necessarily demand, but just price increases. So, all the more reason to own chip stocks. But kind of, I guess, one bit of data about these charts, it's not necessarily demand. It's also just prices or the underlying components are going up. 6% CAGR. So let's see. CrowdStrike integrated Claude Opus 4.7 to improve vulnerability detection. I don't know. I just feel like they're trying to integrate AI so that news about Claude doesn't tank the stock. Cool. So, TSM is one of the most loyal customers. MediaTek has raised revenue target to 2 billion, doubling an early 1 billion projection. They're targeting a 10 to 15% market share in the ASIC space. So yeah, capex. I think this is the big story. $710 billion is that's a lot of money, and I feel like by end of this year we're going to be guiding for north of $1 trillion. Like, it's just hard to even understand this scale of money. Yeah, so this is interesting. This one guy saying that a lot of ASML suppliers are getting squeezed, and the way the ASML model works is really this like mutual collaboration where all the suppliers are really long-term partners. So the fact that ASML is kind of squeezing them isn't really a good sign. Like ASML is a one-on-one company, and you'd hope it kind of stays that way. Cool. Let's see. Qualcomm. Okay, so the market still treats Qualcomm like a mature handset supplier with Apple modem risk, weak smartphone demand, and limited AI relevance. But they've built exposure to a lot of other markets. So they're 14 times earnings. Memory kind of squeezes them, but is so their automotive revenue grew 15% year on year last quarter. It expands to go above 35%. And they basically have a bunch of rack scale systems. I don't know. I think so. It sounds like they're kind of diversifying into a bunch of different areas. Let's kind of, I guess, pull up the chart and check it out. Qualcomm. Here. Okay. So of course, massive gap up. Year to date though, it's only up 3%. Like this is a stock that's really been hammered. Given most semi names have run up 50 to 200%, this is actually kind of reassuring. So latest EPS was 2.465. I wonder if we can get a dot plot. So guiding about 2 for next quarter. So let's say like $8 of earnings for the whole quarter. So 180 for the year. Sorry. This is 22 forward P, which isn't too bad to be honest. I guess looking at this chart, it's a very weak chart, but who knows? Maybe it turns around. I don't think I have enough conviction that I would bet on it. Yeah. So, let's see. Bitcoin Fed chair transition triggers a sell-off. So, I mean, I hope we don't gap down lower from here, but to be seen. Optical stocks not looking great. April 27th. Wait, this is like 3 days ago. I don't get why people speak like, like we're gonna reward patience, and it's like 10% up, and it's just like, okay, your patience was rewarded. Anyway, cool. Meta. Let's pull up the chart. I didn't keep track with what happened, but obviously they're spending a bunch of money on capex, and Mr. Market's like, stop spending money on capex. So 524, 610 kind of really hit a low point. Now, okay, so on one hand, I think like Meta makes more money from advertising when they spend on capex. I think they're different to the other hyperscalers that can rent out their compute, but I would be surprised if they're not seeing positive return on capital on this. So their customers are under attack, their product's getting less valuable. I mean, I don't really know if saying that their customers are under attack makes sense, because sure, one side may be under attack, but the others are winning that are taking the one. So let's see. Fastest revenue growth in 5 years at 30% year on year. Ad impressions are growing. Real time spent rose 10%. More brain rot for the world. Growth is strong. WhatsApp monetization is going strong, and Facebook video time is going up. So let's see. Cool. Meta they raised their thing, custom model training, aggressive AI infra spending, but uh, yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of strange how they got punished relative to everyone else got rewarded. I wonder if there's anything. What are people saying about this? Well, I just love it. It's like, what do you guys think? Just like a buy order straight away. Um, Revenue growth rate versus, yeah, I would say it is working. It's going down. No moat. I wonder why would you say that? It does feel like the market kind of irrationally hates Meta a little sometimes. Like 610, it might be worth selling some puts at this range, given how bearish everyone is on it. Could be a trade idea. Anyways, let's see. Google was hit, yeah, just gapped up 10%, insane. All right, let's check this out. Quarter one earnings for Caterpillar. Cool. So the Caterpillar's Q1 call delivered one of the clearest public industrial confirmations data center power demand. Non-American, non-residential construction, blah blah blah. So the backlog is up to 63 billion, up 80% year on year. That is insane. Power generation up massively. It's really just like they've become like a data center power play. And there's a bunch of other ones, like even like Rolls-Royce Holdings and whatnot, that are part of this whole thing. But okay, this is just a lot. I wish it was synthesized a bit more. But anyway, I think the bottom line is that Caterpillar number go up energy. I don't really think I'd get into the details of it, to be honest. Gonna need a bigger boat. Advanced packaging principal engineer. I wonder what the pay is for these kinds of things. Oh well. Okay, I don't know. This is someone fading Meta. Okay, so interesting here. Google finally provide details on sales of TPUs to third-party customers. So Google licenses TPU IP to Broadcom. Broadcom sells TPUs to Anthropic. Fluidstack serves as a managed services provider to Anthropic, operating Anthropic's TPUs at Wolf data centers. TeraWulf builds data centers and leases capacity to Fluidstack. Google effectively serves as Fluidstack's guarantor, backstopping $3.2 billion. Okay, let's check out the Wolf chart. I remember they had quite a lot of hype back when the data centers were pumping about mid last year, but I haven't really checked on them since. Let's go. What is this chart? How do I not get candles? Oops. This is an insane chart. Okay. 21.13, so of course it's kind of like gapped up as well. Earnings, they missed last earnings and they're negative. I feel like it's kind of hard to get around stocks like this, to be honest. You're just like, why would I buy something that isn't making money, which are things that are making money that are just easier bets. Cool. Teradyne. Okay. The stock has been so erratic that it hurts my head thinking about it sometimes. Seriously, if you can't base... yeah, this guy's really going hard on metal. Let's see what he's trying to say, because this is like the second time it's going to come up. Okay. Okay, I'm bearish on retail businesses really at Hood, so if anything to do with retail spending, Meta derives much of its ad spending from in turn from small businesses. Some of the growth you should discount from inflation. Why am I bearish on retail businesses and Armageddon? Meta is a big dinosaur that needs to fight for survival. The advent of agentic AI means people can replicate 10,000 Facebook networks overnight. Think niche networks without the reach of Facebook. Quality of Facebook has degraded a lot. My Facebook Shorts recommendations are 100% AI edits. Start in cloud AI or something. Be ambitious. This is a terrible, terrible take. Wow. People are just going to vibe code their own, like, Facebook networks overnight. Yeah, man, no one's doing that. Like, literally no one at all. This is kind of one of the worst takes I've seen on the site. Anyway, we'll pull attention one app at a time. I don't disagree with that. But I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't see anyone not using Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. They just own too much surface area. So I don't know, I'd personally be a buyer here at these levels. Let's see, maybe I go after this. Cool. Intel. Intel is just such a narrative play. I don't think it actually makes sense to buy, given the PE ratio. But the pump is behind it, and when I say that, I mean Trump as well. Not my cup of tea. So you can't buy gas turbines. They're almost triple in thing. Bloom Energy is really the answer. Bloom Energy, I think, is going to be one of the only ways you can get power in this whole thing. Stock gapped up massively. I think if there's any, I feel like with Bloom, it's less of this earnings chart is so weird. But I feel like it's probably just becoming less about the earnings and more just the fact that, like, if you need data centers to be up online, they're one of your quickest ways, because the cost doesn't matter. If gas turbines do triple the price, even if Bloom doubles their prices, it's not going to be as bad. But I'm not an energy expert, so I wouldn't say that. Nvidia down 4% on news that all hyperscalers are massively supply constrained, will be raising capex. This is so bizarre. It's so insane. It's like a record-breaking capex industry is like, yeah, let's sell it. Let's sell the company that is at the heart of the industrial AI revolution. Anyway, AWS operating margins going up. Cool. I don't know, this whole, like, SK Square, like, trades less than NAV for SK Hynix thing. Like, I don't know. I've been in these, like, stock that isn't traded NAV thing. It just never really ends up correct. The market knows something, and yeah, you can try and bridge that, but there's some risk that isn't being disclosed. So I usually tend to stay away. NVIDIA posting about Lumentum's new facility. Where's Jensen? He's not here. Okay. Oh, to be seen. Ideal Power, microcap power semiconductor company. That sounds interesting. So, it is a commercialization validation story. Blah blah blah. So they got, like, a new CEO. He came from AMD. And it sounds like they're trying to pivot into AI semiconductor power, especially 100 volt DC AI power data center distribution. So, okay. They trade about $3 to $4 with a $10 price target from one buy-side analyst. Their core asset is B-Tran, a bidirectional bipolar junction transistor designed to conduct and block current in both directions using it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so something around power conversion. Quite a lot to get through here. It is quite dense. Yeah, wow. I will not be reading that. I will be giving this to Claude. TLDR this for me, please. Okay, B-TRAN, it can replace 4 conventional devices with one in a solid-state circuit breaker EV and battery disconnects as you're pushing to 800 volt data center. Cool. Okay, so their 2025 revenue was literally $40,000 and margins were negative. They're burning $10 million a year and their 200 million sales funnel is aspirational. They just raised $12 million to stay alive. Shareholders are being diluted, new management. Okay, so it sounds like there is potential here, but there's a lot of risk as well. I feel like if I had a smaller capital base or I was really looking for like penny stocks, this kind of seems like the place to look. Personally, not about things like that. Yeah, that's a bit of a sad chart. So I'd stay away, but I think it's interesting to kind of like keep on your radar nevertheless. All right. Moving on. Yeah, 700 billion. I still can't get around that number. It's just mind-boggling. Oh, yeah, that is my semis. Okay, so that's of course, the big story in the street around semiconductor, or sorry, hyperscaler capex spend. Let's move on. Qualification cycle players. Okay, so LPK earnings are out. I actually don't know what either of these companies do. So let's do what are these companies about? Oh, bit of food coma. Sweet. So LPKF Laser and Electronics, German-based laser technology company in 1976. High precision, high density formation of TGVs while maintaining structural integrity. Glass core substrates for advanced chip packaging. Blah blah blah. I'll explain this in a second. I'm just trying to understand it myself. Okay, so when you think about advanced packaging for semiconductors, you kind of stack these things vertically, and you have these things called TSVs, through silicon vias. Now they've got this thing called through glass vias that have better benefits. I wouldn't be able to explain it completely, but I'd imagine glass is better than organic substrates for a bunch of different reasons. And this company is on the verge of, I guess, scaling up production for them, which is a big opportunity if they can get it right. So let's take a look at the stock because it seems like it got beat up. Seems like you have to buy this off like some sort of like ADR, but let's check it out. Okay, so it dipped post earnings, but this thing was 25th March. Am I reading this right? That is 3 times higher in 2 weeks. It must be something that Serenity must have posted about. That is the Serenity pump now is what we're really seeing. Okay, that is an insane chart. Trying to put this into context a bit better, but sounds like an interesting opportunity, but like this is massively expensive right now. Or is it? Let's see, earnings 6 cents, 36.30. Yeah, I mean, maybe you buy before this huge spike up, but for now I'd probably just like let this sit. Cool. So Meta confirmed plans to sell investment grade debt and could raise 25 billion through a bond sale. More money for capex, basically. 50K to 8 figures, 11 years. Yup, I would believe that. Is launching Eats for the Way, letting Uber Black drivers add coffee, tea, or snack after confirming their ride. Oh, that's cool. I have been taking Uber Blacks recently, and they're nice. I definitely think so. Cool. So, high bandwidth memory 4E. It's a new generation of HBM. The fact that it's not coming in 2027 and coming in 2028 means like stuff is, I think, actually getting harder and harder to manufacture. Like, I think a lot of the game from now is, can you use older hardware to use the workloads you need, because the newest hardware is just going to get more and more challenging. Okay, OpenAI has locked in 10 gigawatts of AI compute capacity scheduled for 2029. Great. Cool, they added 3 gigawatts in the past 90 days. Makes sense. So let's look this out. So, blah, blah, blah. Basically, consumption usage-based pricing models have underappreciated outlooks for margins going forward. I think that's like the key story here. Yeah, I think the street is massively underestimating just how much money you can make off inference. Let's see. Cool. I feel like that's really all the news for today. Yeah, nothing more. Google hyperscaler spending. I don't think Kathy bought a bunch of Hood. Okay, did Hood dip? Yeah, I think Hood got wrecked on their recent earnings. Let's go. Yeah, I think they got slammed down. Not a bad entry point, to be honest. Gambling is not going away, so long gambling. Thank God Amazon finally gapped up. It is one of the most miserable charts I've kind of seen, especially for something with so much like AI exposure. Like, just on a 5-year basis. Oh, that's not too bad. 5 years has done well, but on a year, less so. Anyway, yeah, I've kind of got back to where I started yesterday in terms of like scrolling amounts. So, gonna call it here. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch you tomorrow. We've got SanDisk earnings today, so fingers crossed. I'm sure they're gonna do well. But with that,